Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hitting the Field on Hitting the Field Network. As always, we've got a great show for you today. First up, we'll be talking about last week's Thursday Night Football, which, hold up, was actually a game, monumental for Thursday night. We'll also be talking about some of the games and things we saw yesterday for NFL Sunday, Week 7. After that, guys, it's almost World Series time, which means we have to talk about what we saw in the ALCS and NLCS over these past couple days and what we think we might be seeing in our future. Finally, I'll give you my thoughts on our wonderful women's soccer team here at UCF. I'm your host, Hannah Jo Groves. Today is Monday, October 24th, 2022, and Hitting the Field starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
And we're back. I personally cannot believe we're already at Week 7 for NFL. And before we get started talking about games here, I want to talk about the big news we got on Thursday night. And get especially your reaction, Kelly. Your team, the Carolina Panthers, we got this announcement Thursday night, traded Christian McCaffrey away to the 49ers. And let me see if I get this. It's for a second, third, and fourth round pick in 2023. And then I think they get a fifth round in 2024. So that's what we're working with here.
Right.
As a how are you doing? That's my question. What was your reaction about the CMC trade?
Shock, depression, also just a normal day as a Carolina Panther fan. Extreme disappointment. Wake up disappointed. It's just another day, just another year in my life. Does it shock me that the Panthers traded away our best player on the entire roster? No. I think getting rid of the head coach, Matt Rule, was a great idea, but I don't think we really need to do the 2-for-1 so quickly. So I guess my thing is, like, that he got traded to the 49ers. 49ers lost. I mean, he had almost nothing going on.
Yeah.
New offensive line, new quarterback. New playbook, new entire side of the country.
Right.
And he's still not good. So is the conversation more of Christian McCaffrey's talents versus the Panthers being his issue?
I kind of love that you're saying this right now.
So, like, that's something we're going to look at the rest of the season, seeing how successful he becomes with the 49ers. I mean, hence, he did just get there. He hasn't really had his foot in the water for too long. They really just wanted him on the field doing something for them.
Yeah.
Still didn't work out in their favor, but, I mean...
Yeah.
He started off well yesterday, though. And then the Chiefs defense started to figure him out.
Well, exactly. Well, but tell us what your initial reaction was when you got that news Thursday.
I wasn't really surprised. I mean,
really?
Christian McCaffrey, a guy of his caliber, shouldn't be playing on a team like the Carolina Panthers because, again, they're in a total rebuild mode. He doesn't deserve to be on a team that's going to be rebuilding for another 3 years. He needs to be playing for a title contending team. The Niners, they could be a title contending team if they get healthy and situate their offense because they were in the NFC title game last year, and Christian McCaffrey is arguably the top 3 running back in the NFL. So as weeks go on, I expect him to get in sync with that system.
All right. Well, let's take a trip back in time to Thursday, the other things that we saw happen, which had the Cardinals go up against the Saints. Now, the Saints started off super strong with Andy Dalton throwing a 53-yard pass to Rashid Shaheed for the first touchdown. Yes, touchdown on Thursday Night Football. Who would have thought of the game? The Cardinals could only get a few field goals going by the start of the second quarter, but the Saints kept marching in as Dalton gave Taysom Hill, one of my favorite NFL players, by the way, a nice little 3-yard pass to up their lead. Dalton and sometimes QB Hill joined in a sweet little hug after that. Yeah, it really warms my heart. I think you're going to see it in a second here. Oh, look at that, the quarterback love.
Oh, sweet. But Hannah Jo, I mean, the Saints didn't hold the lead through the half. The Cardinals were able to drive down the field, and Keontae Ingram got a 2-yard run in for a touchdown, and then the Cardinals capitalized with a 2-point conversion to tie up this game. Then comes the turning point of this game. It's tied 14-14. Andy Dalton throws a pick. Marco Wilson makes a 38-yard interception run for a touchdown, making the score 20-14.
They had this really great camera shot after that of Andy Dalton turning away in frustration while Wilson dove into the end zone out of focus in the background. That was pretty good.
And that wasn't even the last pick six Dalton threw. Barely a minute later in the game, he threw the ball right into the arms of Isaiah Simmons, who had a 56-yard run back to the end zone. Great way to end the half, Dalton. In the third quarter, the Saints tried to get themselves back in the game with a field goal, but it wasn't enough.
And with seconds left in the quarter, Kyler Murray passed the ball 5 yards to Greg Dortch to extend the Cardinals' lead.
And the Cardinals really put the nail in the coffin a little bit later in the fourth quarter when the Cardinals had an 8-play, 64-yard drive that ended in Eno Benjamin getting a 5-yard run to the end zone to get the score to 42-34.
And though the Saints tried a couple more times with 1 touchdown and 1 more field goal, the Cardinals had already won the game with the final score, 42-34. Grant, what happened to Andy Dalton?
So Andy Dalton has been on a collision course for many years now in a bad way. Like, he's just been regressing year after year. He's in his 12th year now, I believe. He's just washed up. I mean, he's been kind of a journeyman. I mean, the Cowboys, the Bears, the Saints. I just don't really see much for him in the future. I think his prime is well behind him now.
He's kind of just an old man.
He's just an old man, exactly.
Right.
I think he's just washed up.
Well, Kelly, I can't help but notice a man sitting next to Andy Dalton on the bench. His name is Jameis Winston.
Right.
What's the story there? Why is he not in?
So there's some talk with that I was looking at where they're thinking about giving Jameis his starting job back. I mean,
Why not?
we have a lot of reasons why not.
Yeah.
Really, I think what needs to happen is Jameis Winston needs to kind of like look back at his youth, look back at where he started at, and look at like where he came from, because he was so talented in college, and happens to everyone, happens to a lot of quarterbacks, especially Ohio State quarterbacks. I had to because it's Penn State, Ohio State week.
Don't tell Camden Mowry that.
Oh, he
It's
is.
just these like top tier quarterbacks that get to the league and just suffer, and we just see them there and sit there for years and years and years, and then will they be good? Will they be successful? I think that's what we're kind of looking at with Jameis Winston. I think if they let him have the opportunity to get back in there and kind of start getting these reps with his boys again,
Possible.
possible.
Okay. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Jameis Winston's the epitome of like inconsistency. He's literally a
Right.
roller coaster
Right.
because one week he can go off and throw for 350 and 3 TDs, and one week he can throw for like maybe not even 200 yards and like 3 picks. You just
Right.
don't know
You
what
never
you're going to get
know.
out of Jameis Winston. He's probably the most unpredictable quarterback in the NFL.
Well, you know who's proven himself pretty dang predictable? Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, yeah.
So talk to us about how he did yesterday.
Patrick Mahomes absolutely shredded the San Francisco 49ers yesterday. I mean, he had 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 pick, 25 of 34 at a QBR of 90.1, and averaged 12.4 yards per pass attempt.
That's
That's almost
insane.
over a first down on every pass.
That's just
And
insane.
really, they kind of got off to a slow start. They didn't really start getting going until the second half.
Right.
And it was just all of it. It was just Chiefs for the rest of the game from there on out.
I literally
Kelly-
dream of a perfect quarterback
Yeah.
like that.
Well, and I really thought we were going to see some weakness from them when Tyreek went. I mean, that's their number one guy. And then we're not seeing any of that.
There's none. There's absolutely no drop off. I mean, honestly, I was really surprised to see Juju Smith-Schuster have
Yeah.
a really nice
He's
game.
playing very well this year so far.
He
I
plays
think.
great with that offense.
And I think he's more like professional now. He's not on that
Right.
TikTok as much anymore like he was
my
in Pittsburgh. I think he's locked himself in. He's matured a little bit, and it's showing on the field, his play.
Good. Well, I mean, to me, it really showed their strength as a team when they were able to convert third and longs, like, consistently.
Best in the NFL.
Yeah, and this 49ers defense was supposed to be one of the best. Where did they break down?
They broke down somewhere right before the half, third quarter area, because they had they were down, actually, they were up 13-7. And then the Chiefs went up 14-13, and then from there on out, it was just all Kansas City.
Can I ask you a hypothetical question?
I love those.
Jimmy Garoppolo, in for Trey Lance. What happens in this game if Trey Lance played instead?
Probably not much different.
You think?
Probably not much different. I mean, I feel like one thing Jimmy G really has going for him is that he's hot and not much
Oh my gosh.
really like.
Truer words have never been spoken.
I mean, like, yeah, he had an all right game. It wasn't anything crazy, but I mean, like,
Yeah. Well, he has more experience, honestly. I
Right.
kind of think they would have gotten the better result with Jimmy G anyway.
he kind of falls into that category that we were just talking about, Andy Dalton. He's just kind of like an older guy. He's been here for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
9th year, yeah.
right. We've seen him in the league. He's been here before. This is nothing new. Like, this is another day in the office.
Yeah.
And we're as Trey Lance, he's newer. He's very fresh to the league. You can give him that opportunity, but you have the same problems you could have with people like Jameis Winston. The uncertainty, like you don't know whether to bank on them or not. You just can't be too sure. I mean, I feel like that's with quarterbacks always. It's really week by week. But I mean,
I want to transition because you're saying this perfectly, week by week, worrying about how a quarterback is going to do. Tua Tagovailoa. So we saw him come back, which was great. I had my thoughts that I ranted about on whether or not he should have even been able to be back on the field. And I want to ask both of you guys' opinion on that. But tell us how Tua did yesterday in his first time back.
He didn't do horrible. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Very close. Could have thrown a few interceptions. 261 total yards and 21 for 35 with a QBR of 73. Obviously, it's not as bright and shiny as Patrick Mahomes is, but it's not bad. And for being out for the last 2 games, having like an injury so bad he could barely get up off the field and walk 3 weeks ago, I still don't think he should be playing.
Okay.
But for coming back out of his little like injury, which I still think the only reason they took him out was because they were so pressured by the media and by fans to do so. I don't think they would have done so if they weren't like being more, I want to say like morally forced.
I get what you're saying.
He has no memory of it, by the way, that Bengal game.
That is
That's
scary.
that's the interview that was craziest to me, is that Tua was like, I don't really remember much. And
That is
I've had 5 concussions in my lifetime, and I'm not any type of high caliber athlete, but same, like no memory for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's so scary.
It's concerning.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, let's talk about then the Steelers on the other side of the ball here. They've been weak all season. I mean, Najee Harris does what he can.
He's carrying the load offensively for them.
So tell me what their weaknesses are, excuse
Their
me.
weaknesses, obviously the quarterback position. I mean, Kenny Pickett is a rookie. He's just starting out. He's gradually just learning the ropes of the NFL. And then their offensive coordinator actually got some backlash last night from Chase Claypool, saying the play calling was awful. The offense is not there right now for Pittsburgh, except for Najee Harris. Again, he's carrying that offense with his legs. The defense is okay, but they're in a tough spot right now, Pittsburgh. Very tough spot.
They were trying this year to take the pressure off of Najee Harris offensively, because last year it was literally all Najee Harris.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You're going to get injured if you're running the ball every single play for the entire 4 quarters, which obviously isn't the case, but seems like it.
Yeah.
And that was the goal this year, to get these players to take the pressure off him offensively. What do? You draft Kenny Pickett, and he throws 3 interceptions against the Dolphins.
He's had like 2-3 interception games already, Kenny Pickett.
2 back-to-back in the 4th quarter in the final plays of the drive. Interception. Next drive, the Dolphins. Interception again, with the game on the line. Like, obviously, I'm not shocked. He played at Pitt. He didn't have a ton of fan pressure.
Woof.
And, like, playing in front of the Dolphins is probably one of the biggest crowds he's ever played in front of before. I mean, things like that, they add up. And, like, Miami is on a come-up, so, like, the fans are into it. There's people at the games.
Yeah.
There's so many outside factors that you have to take into it. It just wasn't smart.
No, I agree with you there. And these poor Steelers have to play the Eagles, undefeated Eagles. And, you know, Philly fans are the best fans in the world. I'm dating one of them, so I know firsthand. So let's go to a more positive aspect of people that we're seeing in the NFL. I have a game called Silhouette Roulette that I want to play with you guys. So this nice little graphic, it's titled The Studs of the Week. Wow. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo definitely should be on there yet. Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo with 303 passing yards. Trevor Lawrence beat him out with 310. Andy Dalton got 361. And then the top, of course, legendary week for Joe Burrow. Absolutely crazy. And then we've got one behind him. Now, Kelly, give me your guess as to who that is.
I'm thinking it's Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
I feel like you said 423 all-purpose yards earlier.
Once again, we're proving how smart our analysts are on this show. It is indeed Patrick Mahomes. And Johnny was trying to throw you off the scent there with the whole graphic situation, but you got it anyway, so good for you. So unfortunately, that is all the time we have to talk football today. Next week, we will definitely be back with more. Thanks so much, Grant and Kelly, for coming on with me.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
You guys are the best. When we come back, we'll have Nate Marrero and Kayla Lewis joining us to go over some of what they saw in the MLB playoffs. Stay with us.
I'm going with Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan, and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots
Oh my gosh. Oh my
God.
God.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL
my
is gonna
God.
the NFL is gonna make it happen.
Welcome back. Now, I've got my two resident baseball experts and kind of frenemies here at the desk with me today to give us some of their observations of both the NLCS and the ALCS. Before we get into all that, Kayla, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Ready to talk baseball again.
Yankees got swept.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I had something in mind, though, to cheer you up, and I can remind you of it a few times, okay?
Sure.
New York Giants.
Oh yeah, they're
Or
6-1. Much better. Can we talk football instead?
Actually, no. We're going to talk about how the Yankees got swept.
It's your turn to be sad.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, no, you were sad last week because of the Braves. So.
Well, let's jump right in then, I guess. So, Astros versus Yankees. Astros swept. Now, Astros is kind of the only team in here that people were expecting to dominate, and that's exactly what they've done. Kayla, can you tell me about how the strength of their pitching really carried them?
Oh, it was really good. I mean, it really did carry them. Now, the Yankees didn't do great as it was, but they struck out the Yankees 50 times. That's insane. They were holding the Yankees, not hitting a lot of homers, like not hitting really anything. Their offense and defense were perfect, and their pitching just came out strong. Their bullpen, everything was just strong.
Yeah. Well, specifically, I want to talk about, wow, his demeanor is actually so defeated.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Nate. We will try to
I'll
get
be
him
okay. I don't know why I'm so sad. I expected this. I
yeah,
picked the
just
Astros to
remember
get to the World Series.
Just remember the Giants.
I'm trying.
All right, so Farmer Valdez showed some growth. I feel like he's able to kind of get past some errors in his head, keep playing the game. What did you see from him?
I mean, his ability to control the strike zone and get the Yankees to chase. I mean, he's slowly becoming one of the best pitchers in baseball, and you see him slowly. Last postseason, they kind of eased him in, and now he's going 7 innings and shutting down the Yankees offense that was inept.
Inept.
I really want to talk about Aaron Judge. You see?
Yes, you did bring this up.
Yeah.
The MVP conversation, yeah.
So, a few weeks ago, we debated that. I know the postseason doesn't matter for the MVP, but
It doesn't.
It's okay though, because you see, Aaron Judge had 1 hit.
He did.
He didn't show up at all, and you see what happens when he doesn't show up. His back was hurting so bad. They lost. That's what happens.
It was still one more hit than what Ronald Acuna had in the championship series.
See, the thing is, though, you said, remember, you were like, how can an MVP be on a losing team? Well, look at him now. That's all I have to say.
I mean, the Angels are irrelevant. They're good for
So are the
7
Yankees.
rounds in the regular
Yankees are
season,
so.
but the Yankees at least make it to the playoffs.
That's okay.
I don't want to defend them, but yet here I am, defending their trash team. All right, this is Boone and Cashman need to go.
Okay, tell us more.
They have to go. It's the same thing over and over and over again. You say, oh, we don't want to spend money on a shortstop because you have Oswald Peraza, Anthony Volpe. And then you spend $50 million on Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Connor Falefa. Josh Donaldson couldn't hit to save his life. You're benching Connor Falefa for his defense, which you brought him for. You're like, oh, he was a Gold Glover at third base. Doesn't exactly translate to another position. I mean, what are we doing? And then here, this is the most mind-boggling thing. I'm going to tell you this.
Tell me.
The Yankees have a mental conditioning coach named Chad Bowling. he was replaying highlights from 2004 when the Red Sox came back and beat the Yankees in the ALCS. Do you have any idea how mind-boggling that is? Let me bring, all right, this is how I'm going to cheer you up, okay?
Okay, yeah,
I'm going to bring this franchise back to the lowest point in history. And then maybe that'll cheer you up. And then, and they had David Ortiz FaceTime, Aaron Boone. David Ortiz was on that Red Sox team that came back, by the way, from 3-0 to beat the Yankees in the championship series.
This is really interesting that you're talking about this because was that last week? I was talking about how it's a mental block, the postseason, and how maybe a mental coach would help.
I mean, not in this case. He made it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
That didn't help.
Well, okay, so you talked about spending money, a lot of money, for not so much greatness stuff.
Yeah.
So, but let me move to the other side here because the Phillies also spent a lot of money in the offseason. And it was a great thing. I know they got your Braves, but can you tell me how, especially Bryce Harper, has come through for these Phillies?
Oh, he came through. He was MVP. He's batting .400, 2 home runs, which may not seem like a lot, but in the 7-game series, it went to 5. 2 home runs is a lot. He hit the clutch 8th inning 2-run homer that put them on top because the Padres were about to send it to a 6th game. He's just been great. His OPS is 1.250. That's insane. And really everyone, not even just Bryce Harper, has been showing up for the Phillies, and they're just hot, and they continue to be.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier, Phillies are the best sports fans in the world.
I guess so.
Shout out Kevin. Well, anyway, so yeah, go ahead.
No, you need your best players to show up in the biggest moments, and Bryce Harper did exactly that. And did you know? Bryce Harper wanted to sign with the Yankees when he was a free agent, but they were like, nah, we have Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar, so we're cool. He's getting paid $27 million. They're paying almost double that for Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
Nate, this is a hard day for you.
It's not great, you know.
Wow.
Brian Cashman's contract is up, so I mean, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
They're probably going to keep him, though, and it'll be the same thing.
Well, so I have a question for you about the league extending playoffs here, because the Phillies wouldn't even be in this position right now had they not done that. So what do you think about that rule as it goes for the future?
I mean, it validates why you make that rule. I mean, they were down 2-0 with 1 out in the 9th inning against the St. Louis Cardinals, and they come all the way back to win the series. They roll right past the Braves, and they do the same thing to the Padres. So, I mean, it was something I was very questionable about, but, I mean, the Phillies are absolutely proving MLB right for adding a 6th to the playoffs.
I think you're right there. Well, and so tell me, though, I think the Padres kind of made a name for themselves, especially against the Dodgers. And so what do you think we're going to see from the Padres next year? What era is this starting for them?
I mean, I think they're on a good roll next season. I mean, you never know what can happen.
True.
But it speaks a lot that they can beat the Dodgers, who had the best record in baseball going into and they held their own against the Phillies, who are hot. I mean, I think next year they're going to do very well, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was so important for them to get past that mental block of beating the Dodgers.
Yes.
Sorry, Johnny.
Sorry,
but
Johnny.
just to get past that, I think the sky can be the limit. They need a little bit more pitching. They'll get Fernando Tatis back after 20 games next season.
That's right.
And they should have a chance to make a run next season.
Okay. Well, and I would love to see that. I mean, we have this, wild card and all of that, and they make their way through, even though they didn't win as many games as the Dodgers.
But
and
it was
stuff like
close.
That.
They didn't get blown out.
Close, absolutely. So I'd love to see them. They haven't been in the playoffs in the recallable future or past.
Recent past.
So hopefully we will see it in the future. Wow. Okay. So now we know the World Series teams, guys. And my question for you is, does anyone want the Astros to win? Does anyone? I don't.
No. Well, see, I'm very conflicted.
Okay.
Because you see, the Phillies beat the Braves. So one part of me is like, okay, since they beat us, let's have them win it all. So it wasn't for nothing. But then I'm like, I would love to see them fail. So I'm very conflicted.
That's understandable.
I am just really conflicted, but I honestly think the Astros will edge them out. I mean, they're undefeated in the postseason. That's insane.
It's definitely an underdog David Goliath situation.
But I think they can also do it. They're really hot right now.
Right.
It's going to be interesting.
I can't root for the Astros with any fiber of my being, but I kind of want Dusty Baker to win. I mean, he's an OG in MLB. He's never won a World Series, so for him to win a World Series and potentially right into the sunset on top, that would be great. Unfortunately, the Astros would have to win 2 along with him, so I mean, there's no way to. It's just going to be, it's inevitable pain at this point.
Exactly. Well, and I'm still not over, and I think a lot of people still aren't over the cheating stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that it's a whole new team. I do understand that, but I think that it's been so long, and we've seen we've seen the Astros in this arena not too long ago.
No, and you have to give them props for how that organization is ran. I mean, they lose Carlos Correa, and then Jeremy Pena comes in as a rookie, and he goes 6 for 17.
Yeah,
he
tell
hits
us about
a goer.
Jeremy Pena real
I
quick.
mean, he's 25-year-old rookie. I mean, the star. The lights haven't been too bright for him. I mean, he had 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. He's batting .353 against the New York Yankees. I mean, his 3-run homer tied the game when the Yankees had a chance to potentially, steal Game 4. But I mean, without him, they wouldn't be where they are. And to say that about a rookie is so impressive.
It's a rookie going to the World Series. I mean,
helping lead his team.
That's a story that I do really like. I will say, I mean, if you want my take, I want the Phillies to win. I think all of us. I mean, you can get there, Kayla.
It's tough to root for Philly.
Guys, Philly. I think it's going to happen. And we'll all be happy about it.
Maybe it'll end in a tie.
I don't think
There's
that's
7
how that
games.
works. I don't think that'd be interesting.
It was a joke.
All the time we had to talk baseball for now. Thank you so much, Kayla and Nate, for being on with me. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you guys about our women's soccer team here at UCF. We'll be right back. Now, I know my past couple of rants have been me really making a statement about things that should change, but this week I have a happier rant for you. Earlier this morning, we had UCF's women's soccer star forward, Kristen Scott, on our show doing trivia with one of our executive producers, Johnny Jackson. And this is less than 12 hours after her team won the regular season conference championship. Earlier this semester, I had the opportunity to sideline report for the women's soccer team, and that included not only going to their games, but going to a few of their practices and interviewing members of the team. I've also gotten to talk with and get to know their head coach, Tiffany Sahadak, who played for the U.S. women's national team and still acts as an associate coach with that team. I can't begin to tell you how much I genuinely, really, really like this team, just as people. It was my first time doing sideline reporting, which this is what I want to do for my future and my career. And they were the perfect team because they were so kind, so willing to talk, and they're freaking talented. So we had a lot to talk about. This team is 8-2-4. And you can tell by watching them, they're all genuinely friends and support one another on and off the field. As I said yesterday, the team won the regular season conference championship title. And on Thursday, they play our rivals, USF, on Thursday. Now, if you want to see some great soccer with some of the best players in NCAA soccer, tune into ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. because not only will you be watching great athletes, you'll also be watching great people. That's our show for today. We will be back next week with more Hitting the Field. Thank you so much for watching, and from myself and all of us here at HTFN, have a great week. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap.